Improving yourself doesn't have to be a massive overhaul that feels overwhelming or impossible. Instead, it can start with something small, just one better every single day. The idea behind improving by one is simple but powerful. Small, consistent changes over time can lead to big transformations. Imagine getting just one better at something every day. Whether it's how you handle stress, how well you manage your time, or even how you show up for the people you care about. When you focus on making small improvements, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. In this book, we're going to focus on practical steps that you can start applying immediately. This isn't about trying to be perfect or expecting overnight results. It's about understanding that small actions, done consistently, will change the trajectory of your life. The best part, every day offers a fresh opportunity to improve, even if it's just by a little bit. It's these tiny shifts that compound over time to bring you closer to the person you want to become. Whether you're trying to boost your confidence, improve your relationships, get better at your job, or simply take better care of yourself, every day is a chance to improve. It's easy to get stuck focusing on big goals, but those big goals are made up of hundreds or even thousands of small steps. You don't need to see instant results to know that you're moving forward. This approach is about understanding that it's the process, not the outcome, that creates lasting change. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to show up, make small improvements, and keep pushing forward. As you move through the pages of this book, you'll find practical tools, strategies, and encouragement that will help you improve one every day. Start small, be consistent, and watch the transformation unfold. This is your journey, one step at a time. Chapter 1: Why Tiny Improvements Change Everything. Improvement doesn't happen overnight. It's not a grand event or a sudden breakthrough. It's the result of small, steady progress made over time. Most people overlook this because they are searching for quick fixes. They want results now. They want a new life, a transformed body, a successful career, and an unstoppable mindset, all in the shortest time possible. But this approach is flawed. Real change doesn't work like that. The truth is, every lasting transformation is built through tiny, seemingly insignificant steps. Every day, you are either moving forward or slipping backward. There is no standing still. Growth is not a single decision, it's a continuous process shaped by the small choices you make. One extra push-up, one healthier meal, one new idea learned. These things may feel like nothing in the moment, but they add up. The problem is, because change happens so slowly, it's easy to miss. You don't notice yourself getting stronger after one workout. You don't see your knowledge expanding after reading a few pages. And because you don't see instant results, you might assume it's not working. You might think your effort is wasted. That's where most people quit. The key to real progress is patience. Not the kind of patience where you sit around waiting for something to happen, but the kind where you trust the process even when you don't see immediate results. Improvement is like planting a seed. You water it, give it sunlight, and take care of it every day. At first, nothing seems to happen. It looks like all your effort is pointless. But beneath the surface, things are changing. Roots are growing, the foundation is being built. Then one day, the plant breaks through the soil and suddenly it's visible. The same thing happens with personal growth. People often believe that success comes from one major event, a big break, a stroke of luck, or a sudden burst of inspiration. But if you look deeper, you'll see that every so-called overnight success is the result of years of effort. Athletes don't wake up one morning with world-class skill, they train daily, pushing themselves a little harder every time. Authors don't write best-selling books in one sitting, they write a few pages a day consistently. Wealthy individuals don't accumulate fortunes by making one smart financial decision, they build their financial habits over time. The pattern is always the same. Small, consistent actions lead to massive results. When you start focusing on just getting a little better each day, pressure disappears. You no longer need to make drastic changes. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to transform overnight. All you need to do is make small, manageable improvements. And when you do this, something incredible happens. The process becomes sustainable. Instead of burning out after a week of intense effort, you find yourself improving effortlessly. Most people fail because they try to do too much too soon. They go from never exercising to forcing themselves into intense workouts every day. They jump into strict diets, cut out everything they enjoy, and then wonder why they can't stick to it. They set enormous goals without having the habits to back them up. Then, when they inevitably struggle, they feel like failures and give up entirely. It's not that they aren't capable, it's that they started too big. The way forward is to focus on progress, not perfection. If you want to get fit, don't worry about running 5 miles a day, start with a few minutes of movement. If you want to read more, don't aim for a book a week, read 1 page. If you want to build confidence, don't force yourself into overwhelming situations, start with small challenges. These tiny efforts compound over time, and before you know it, you're in a completely different place than where you started. The most powerful part of improving just a little bit every day is that it's sustainable. When something feels effortless, you're more likely to keep doing it. And consistency beats intensity every time. Someone who exercises lightly but consistently will be in better shape than someone who trains aggressively for a short time and then stops. Someone who saves a small amount of money every week will be wealthier than someone who invests a large sum once and never does it again. Small actions done repeatedly create unstoppable momentum. One of the biggest challenges in self-improvement is the feeling that nothing is happening. When you start working toward a goal, the beginning can feel slow. You put in effort, but you don't see big changes. This is where most people give up. They assume it's not working and quit too soon. But improvement isn't linear. It works like an investment. In the beginning, the returns are small. But as time passes, they grow exponentially. This principle is called compounding. In finance, it's how small investments grow into large fortunes. In life, it's how minor improvements turn into major transformations. The first few days, weeks, or even months may not seem like much, but over time, these little steps multiply into something extraordinary. To make this work, you need to trust the process. You need to remind yourself that success is built over time, not overnight. The small choices you make today matter more than you think. Every positive action, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. The key is to stay consistent. Don't let a single missed day turn into a pattern of neglect. If you skip a day, don't skip the next one. The goal isn't to be perfect, but to be persistent. The beauty of small improvements is that they fit into your life naturally. They don't require you to overhaul everything at once. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment to start. You don't need extra time, special skills, or more motivation. You just need to begin. Pick one area of your life and focus on improving it by one each day. Maybe it's your health, your mindset, your relationships, or your career. It doesn't matter where you start, as long as you start. The real challenge isn't in making one small change, it's in sticking with it when you don't see immediate results. But if you push through, something incredible happens. One day you'll wake up and realize you've become the person you once thought was out of reach. Not because of one giant leap, but because of 1,000 small steps. Change doesn't happen all at once. It happens in the daily decisions you make, the small habits you build, the tiny improvements that feel insignificant in the moment but shape your future in ways you can't yet see. It's not about making a single life-changing move, it's about making life-changing moves so small that they feel effortless, but so consistent that they become unstoppable. Your future is created in the small moments. The choices you make today determine the person you will become. Start improving by one every day, and over time, you'll look back and realize you've completely transformed. Not because you did something extraordinary, but because you committed to the simple, powerful act of getting just a little better every single day. Chapter 2, Becoming One Better starts with who you are. Who you are shapes everything you do. The way you think, the way you see yourself, and the beliefs you hold about your own potential determine whether you move forward or stay stuck in place. People chase new habits and goals all the time, but they rarely stop to consider the deeper question. What kind of person do they want to become? Real improvement isn't just about doing more, working harder, or pushing through struggles. It's about reshaping your identity so that progress becomes natural. A person who identifies as fit doesn't struggle to exercise, they move their body because it's simply part of who they are. Someone who sees themselves as a reader doesn't force themselves to pick up a book, they do it because it aligns with their sense of self. The way you define yourself affects every choice you make. If you see yourself as someone who lacks discipline, you'll constantly battle resistance. If you believe you're bad at something, you won't try hard enough to improve. The mind always works to prove itself right. If you tell yourself you're lazy, you'll behave in ways that confirm it. If you believe you're capable, you'll take actions that reinforce that belief. Most people approach change backward. They focus on results first. They set goals and try to force new behaviors without ever addressing their mindset. This is why motivation fades so quickly. If you still believe, deep down, that you're not the type of person who exercises, eats healthy, or works hard, then every new habit will feel like a fight. Instead of relying on willpower, shift your approach. Stop thinking about what you need to do and start thinking about who you need to become. When you see yourself differently, your actions will naturally follow. Change starts with small proof. Every time you follow through on a positive action, you collect evidence for a new identity. If you wake up early once, it doesn't change much. But if you do it consistently, you start to see yourself as the kind of person who wakes up early. If you write for 5 minutes a day, you're proving to yourself that you're a writer. If you save a little money regularly, you begin to see yourself as someone who is financially responsible. Identity is built through small, repeated wins. The more you act in alignment with the person you want to be, the more natural those actions become. People often think they need to achieve a certain level of success before they can claim a new identity. They wait until they've lost weight to see themselves as healthy. They wait until they've built a business to see themselves as entrepreneurs. But identity doesn't come after success, it comes before it. If you want to improve, start seeing yourself as the kind of person who does the things you want to do. Act in small ways that reinforce that belief. Instead of waiting to feel like a runner before you go for a jog, go for a short jog and prove to yourself that you are one. Instead of waiting to feel confident before speaking up, say something and let the action build the confidence. The mind resists change because it clings to familiar patterns, even if those patterns aren't helpful. They feel safe. If you've spent years thinking of yourself a certain way, shifting that belief takes time. You'll have moments of doubt. But doubt doesn't mean failure. What matters is consistency. The more you act in a new way, the more natural it becomes. Change isn't about forcing yourself into a new identity overnight. It's about nudging yourself in the right direction, little by little, until that identity becomes second nature. Think about the people you admire. They aren't special because they were born different. They became who they are through the choices they made daily. Every expert was once a beginner. Every confident person once struggled with self-doubt. Every strong person once felt weak. The only difference is that they took small actions that shaped their self-perception over time. The same applies to you. You don't have to wait for a perfect moment. You don't need anyone's permission to start. Decide what kind of person you want to be, then start proving it to yourself in the smallest ways possible. If you want to be more disciplined, do one thing each day that requires discipline. If you want to be a learner, read one paragraph. If you want to be creative, make something small. Identity change isn't about grand gestures, it's about consistently showing up in ways that align with the version of yourself you're building. Progress doesn't happen in sudden bursts. It happens in quiet moments when no one is watching. The small choices you make, the little habits you build, and the way you see yourself all add up to something greater than you can imagine. Improvement isn't about fixing yourself, it's about becoming the person you were always capable of being. You already have everything you need to grow. The only thing standing in the way is the outdated story you tell yourself. If you want to change, start by telling yourself a new story. One where you are capable, disciplined, and resilient. One where success isn't something distant, but something you create daily. Every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you are moving in the right direction. Keep going. Chapter 3, Mastering Daily Discipline. Even when you don't feel like it, discipline is often seen as something difficult, something that only a few highly motivated individuals can master. We imagine it as a rigid routine full of sacrifice and willpower, where every moment requires effort. But the truth is, discipline doesn't need to be a battle. It doesn't require you to force yourself through pain or to rely on sheer determination. In fact, true discipline comes from understanding yourself, your habits, and your priorities, and then aligning your actions with them, little by little, day by day. The problem with most attempts to be disciplined is that they start with unrealistic expectations. People think discipline means perfection. They think it means never slipping up, never taking a break, always being on track. But that's not the reality of discipline. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Discipline isn't about doing everything right every time, it's about making the right decisions more often than the wrong ones, and having the resilience to get back on track when you do slip up. The first step in mastering discipline is to stop overcomplicating it. Discipline isn't about following some strict set of rules, it's about creating small systems that work for you. It's about deciding in advance what your priorities are and then sticking to them even when life gets in the way. When you make the decision to be disciplined, you're not just committing to actions, you're committing to showing up even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. That's the real test. You'll notice that discipline becomes easier when it's tied to something meaningful. When the why is strong enough, it fuels the how. If you're trying to work out every day just because you think you should, it's going to be hard. But if you have a clear vision of why you want to be healthier, whether it's to have more energy, feel better in your body, or improve your mood, the discipline to follow through becomes a lot more natural. Your reasons for doing something are what will keep you going when motivation fades. Creating a system for discipline means making it part of your life in a way that doesn't overwhelm you. You don't need to take on everything at once. You don't need to commit to an extreme regimen. Discipline thrives on simplicity. It's about setting up small, consistent routines that you can stick to. If you decide to work out, start with just 10 minutes a day. If you want to eat healthier, add one nutritious meal or snack each day. You're not looking for perfection, you're looking for progress. Small, easy-to-achieve steps add up. The next key element of discipline is the ability to resist distractions. The world around us is filled with things that pull us away from our goals. Our phones beep with notifications, our minds wander to the latest news, and we get sidetracked by 100 other things. True discipline means learning how to stay focused on the task at hand, even when everything else seems more exciting or easier. This isn't something that happens by willpower alone. Discipline isn't just about forcing yourself to focus, it's about creating an environment that supports your goals. If your desk is cluttered, your mind will be cluttered. If your phone is full of distractions, your attention will be divided. Discipline begins with the environment you create. Set up your space so it encourages the work you want to do. Put away the distractions. If you want to read more, put your phone out of sight. If you want to be more productive at work, keep your workspace clear. Your environment can either support your discipline or sabotage it. Another critical piece of discipline is understanding that progress isn't always linear. Some days will be harder than others. Some days you won't feel like doing anything at all. This is where most people get frustrated. They believe that because they've had one bad day or one weak moment, their entire discipline is ruined. But the reality is, discipline isn't about perfection, it's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's about getting back on track after you've slipped. One missed day doesn't erase all the progress you've made. What matters is that you keep going. Discipline also means learning how to manage your energy. It's not just about time management, it's about managing your focus and effort throughout the day. There are times when you'll have a lot of energy and times when you're feeling drained. Recognizing your energy levels and using them to your advantage is a crucial part of staying disciplined. If you're most productive in the mornings, tackle your hardest tasks first. If you know you're tired after lunch, save easier tasks for that time. Understanding your energy and working with it, rather than against it, makes discipline easier. Building discipline is a gradual process. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's not something you can rush. But with each small step, you're creating a foundation that will support your goals. The more you practice, the more it becomes ingrained in who you are. Over time, discipline will become less about forcing yourself to act and more about naturally following through because it's simply who you've become. Start small, stay consistent, and don't be too hard on yourself when things get off track. No one is perfect, but everyone can be disciplined. It's not about what you do perfectly, it's about how consistently you can show up and do the right things day after day. Build your discipline on the foundation of small, achievable steps. Give yourself the space to learn and grow. As time passes, you'll look back and realize that the small, disciplined actions you took have led to massive growth. True discipline isn't about being the hardest worker in the room or the most rigid in your routine. It's about doing what you need to do when you need to do it, regardless of how you feel in the moment. It's about building momentum and trusting the process. The small daily habits will compound, and over time, you'll realize that your discipline is stronger than ever. The key is simple. Show up, be consistent, and never stop improving, even on the tough days. Chapter 4, The One Morning Routine. How to start your day right. The way you start your day has a profound impact on everything that comes after. Most people underestimate how much the first few hours of their day set the tone for what's to come. You don't need to have an elaborate or complicated morning routine to make a difference, but there are a few simple, powerful things you can do each morning to ensure you get the most out of your day. The first step is to avoid the habit of rolling out of bed and immediately diving into the noise of the world. The world doesn't need your attention the moment you wake up. That means no checking your phone, no emails, no social media, not even news or the latest updates. These things hijack your energy, making you reactive rather than proactive. Instead of allowing outside distractions to determine how your day goes, give yourself time to get grounded and focused. When you wake up, take a moment to breathe deeply and set an intention for your day. This doesn't need to be a long, drawn-out process. It can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths and deciding that today will be a productive day. You're not relying on motivation to get you through the day, you're choosing to move forward regardless of how you feel in the moment. By setting a clear intention first thing, you start the day in control. The next step is movement. Your body craves movement after hours of stillness. Whether you choose to stretch, do yoga, go for a walk, or even just get up and walk around the room, movement gets your blood flowing and signals to your body that it's time to be alert and active. Even a few minutes of light exercise can drastically improve your mood and mental clarity. You don't need to go overboard or start training for a marathon, just something simple to activate your body. After movement, it's time to fuel yourself. What you eat in the morning has a massive effect on how you feel throughout the day. Starting with something that gives you energy and sustains you is crucial. It doesn't have to be a complicated breakfast, but something balanced that provides you with the nutrients you need to perform your best. A combination of protein, healthy fats, and some carbs will set you up with steady energy. Avoid sugary foods that can cause a quick spike in energy followed by a crash. The goal is to nourish your body, not overwhelm it with junk. One of the most impactful things you can do is to engage in some form of mental exercise before you dive into the tasks of the day. This could be reading, journaling, or even meditation. The key is to feed your mind with something positive and intentional before you start reacting to the world. It doesn't need to be long, but it should be focused on building a foundation of calm and clarity for the rest of your day. If you're someone who enjoys reading, take just 10 minutes to read something uplifting or inspiring. If you prefer journaling, write down a few thoughts or gratitude statements. A practice like this helps clear the mental fog and prepares you to take on the challenges ahead with a calm, focused mind. Many people overlook the importance of getting ready for the day physically, but how you present yourself can make a big difference in how you feel. Taking a moment to wash your face, get dressed, and prepare yourself mentally for the day is essential. This doesn't mean putting on a suit or anything fancy, but simply making sure you feel ready to show up as the best version of yourself. Dressing in a way that makes you feel confident, even if you're working from home, can shift your mindset. When you feel put together, you're more likely to take the day seriously and act accordingly. Another important piece of your morning routine is creating a list of priorities. Take a few moments to identify the most important tasks for your day. If you're unclear about what you need to do, it's easy to waste time jumping from one thing to the next. A list doesn't need to be long, but it should be a focused reflection of what matters most. Prioritize the tasks that will move you closer to your goals and give you a sense of accomplishment. Once you have your list, take a moment to focus on the first task. Set your intention on that one thing and avoid multitasking. A great morning routine isn't just about having a structured schedule, it's about creating a foundation of habits that give you control over your day. The way you start your morning affects how you feel, how productive you are, and how much energy you'll have to give throughout the day. The key is not to overwhelm yourself with perfection. Start small and build up over time. Find a morning routine that works for you and your lifestyle, and make it a non-negotiable part of your day. One mistake many people make is thinking that their morning routine needs to be the same every single day. But the truth is, it's okay to adapt. Some days you may want a longer stretch or more time to focus on journaling. Other days, a simple routine might work best. The goal is consistency, not rigidity. Whatever you choose, be sure to stick to it regularly. Over time, these small habits will accumulate and compound, creating a powerful shift in your mindset and productivity. The mornings are a critical time to set your mind in the right direction. Whether it's through movement, nourishment, mental exercise, or organization, taking charge of your morning will help you navigate the rest of the day with purpose. The key is to keep it simple, keep it manageable, and most importantly, keep it consistent. When you give yourself the time and space to start the day on your terms, you'll find that everything else becomes easier to handle. The momentum you build in the morning carries you forward throughout the day, ensuring that you approach everything with intention, focus, and energy. The morning routine doesn't have to be a complex ritual, it just needs to work for you. As long as you begin the day with intention, you'll find that each step forward, no matter how small, builds momentum and leads to long-lasting growth. As your morning routine solidifies, so will your ability to show up for yourself in every other part of your life. A strong start to your day leads to a strong finish. Chapter 5: How to Improve Concentration Every day. It's easy to think that concentration is something you either have or you don't. Some people seem to be able to focus for hours while others struggle with even a few minutes. But concentration isn't a fixed trait, it's a skill you can build and improve over time. The good news is that anyone can strengthen their ability to focus with some intentional practices. The first step in improving your concentration is to recognize what disrupts it. Distractions are everywhere, especially in today's world where technology is constantly vying for our attention. It's easy to get sidetracked by a text, an email, or a notification. These distractions break your focus, and it takes time to get back into the flow of whatever you were working on. The key to improving concentration is not just working harder, but working smarter by minimizing distractions as much as possible. One of the simplest ways to minimize distractions is to create a work environment that supports concentration. This means setting up a space that encourages focus and is free from interruptions. If you work at home, make sure you have a designated area for your tasks away from the areas where you relax or socialize. Keep your workspace tidy and free of clutter. A clear space often leads to a clear mind. If you can, turn off your phone or put it in another room while you're working. Each time your phone pings, you're not just interrupting your flow, you're also training your brain to expect constant stimulation, making it harder to focus for longer periods of time. By creating a space that's conducive to concentration, you set yourself up for success from the start. Another helpful technique to improve your concentration is to break your tasks into smaller, more manageable parts. The longer you look at a big, overwhelming task, the harder it is to focus on the details. Breaking it down makes it less intimidating and allows you to concentrate on completing one small part at a time. This approach also helps you see progress along the way, which can motivate you to keep going. For example, if you're writing a report, don't think about the entire thing at once. Focus on one section at a time, or even break it down into paragraphs. When you have a clear, smaller goal in front of you, it's easier to stay focused and avoid distractions. Concentration is also linked to the quality of your rest and energy levels. If you're tired or drained, focusing becomes much harder. Imagine trying to read a book after staying up all night. Your mind would wander, and you'd struggle to remember what you read. That's because your brain needs rest to function at its best. A good night's sleep, regular breaks, and proper nutrition all play a role in improving your concentration. If you want to concentrate better, you have to take care of your body first. Make sure you're getting enough sleep and that you're fueling yourself with the right foods. Avoid heavy meals or too much caffeine, as these can lead to energy crashes that affect your focus later in the day. When you're well rested and properly fueled, concentration becomes much easier. The next step is practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being present in the moment and fully engaged with what you're doing. When you're focused on a task, it's easy for your mind to wander to other things. Your to-do list, what you'll have for lunch, or an upcoming meeting. Mindfulness helps you catch these distractions and gently bring your attention back to the task at hand. A great way to practice mindfulness is to focus on your breath. Whenever you notice your mind drifting, take a few deep breaths and refocus. This practice can help improve your concentration over time as it trains your mind to be more aware of when it's being pulled away and helps you bring it back into focus. It's also essential to understand that concentration requires energy. The brain is a muscle, and like any other muscle, it needs time to recharge. That's why the concept of deep work is so valuable. When you focus for extended periods of time, you'll notice that your concentration begins to slip. Instead of pushing through and forcing yourself to keep going, take regular breaks. The Pomodoro technique, for example, involves working for 25 minutes, then taking a 5-minute break. This rhythm of focused work followed by short breaks helps you maintain concentration for longer periods without burning out. During your breaks, do something different. Stretch, take a walk, or simply relax for a few minutes. These breaks help clear your mind and prevent mental fatigue, which ultimately supports your ability to focus when you return to your task. Another important aspect of concentration is practicing patience. We live in a world where everything is instant. Messages, entertainment, food, and information. Our attention spans have been shortened because we're constantly bombarded with immediate stimuli. But real concentration takes time and effort. You need to train yourself to stay focused on a single task for an extended period without looking for a quick distraction. This takes practice, and it's not always easy, but with consistent effort, you can build your concentration over time. Start by setting small, achievable goals for yourself. For example, if you're writing, set a timer for 10 minutes and commit to staying focused during that time. Once that 10 minutes is up, take a break, and then do it again. Gradually increase the amount of time you spend focused on a task as your concentration improves. One of the most powerful ways to improve your concentration is to make it a habit. Just like any other skill, the more you practice, the better you get. If you commit to regularly practicing concentration, even for short periods of time, it becomes easier and more natural over time. You'll notice that you can concentrate for longer and with greater intensity. To make concentration a habit, incorporate it into your daily routine. Set aside time each day to focus on a specific task, whether it's reading, working, or even a creative project. The key is consistency. Make concentration a regular part of your day, and soon it will become second nature. Finally, one of the most powerful ways to enhance your concentration is to align your tasks with your values. When you care deeply about what you're working on, concentration comes naturally. If you're working on something that feels insignificant or unimportant, it's easy for your mind to wander. But when you're working on something that truly matters to you, your focus becomes razor sharp. To improve your concentration, try to connect your work to your larger goals or values. Ask yourself why what you're doing is important. When you have a clear sense of purpose behind your work, concentration becomes much easier because your mind is fully engaged. Improving concentration doesn't require drastic changes or overwhelming strategies. It's about being intentional with how you approach your work, minimizing distractions, taking care of your body, practicing mindfulness, and gradually building the skill over time. Small, consistent efforts will yield big results, and the more you practice, the stronger your ability to focus will become. With greater concentration, you'll be able to accomplish more in less time, and the quality of your work will improve. Focus is a skill that can be learned and developed. The more you invest in improving it, the more you'll see the benefits in all areas of your life.
Chapter 6. The One Energy Boost. Small daily upgrades for more power. The energy you carry throughout the day has a ripple effect on everything you do. It shapes your thoughts, influences your decisions, and affects your relationships. If you're constantly running on empty, it's easy to feel drained and overwhelmed. On the other hand, when you have a strong, sustainable energy flow, you approach life with more enthusiasm, clarity, and purpose. The key to sustaining high energy throughout the day lies not in a sudden burst of motivation or a temporary fix, but in consistent, small improvements to your daily habits. Your energy doesn't just come from your morning coffee or the occasional burst of excitement. It's something that needs to be nurtured and maintained throughout the day. One of the most overlooked aspects of managing your energy is simply paying attention to your body's natural rhythms. We all have different peaks and valleys when it comes to energy. Some people feel most energized in the morning, while others hit their stride in the afternoon or evening. Recognizing when your energy levels are highest and scheduling your most demanding tasks during these times can make a huge difference. This doesn't mean you can control everything, but it does mean you can work with your natural rhythms rather than against them. If you know you're more alert after lunch, schedule important meetings or creative work during that time. Equally important is learning how to maintain your energy when your natural energy dips. It's easy to fall into the trap of reaching for sugar or caffeine when you start feeling sluggish. While these quick fixes can give you a temporary boost, they often lead to crashes later, leaving you feeling worse than before. A better approach is to focus on building sustainable energy through healthy habits that support long-term vitality. Proper nutrition plays a huge role in this. If you're constantly fueling your body with junk food, it's no surprise that you're feeling sluggish. The key is to prioritize nutrient-dense foods that give your body the vitamins, minerals, and energy it needs to function at its best. Start with simple changes like increasing your intake of fruits and vegetables, healthy fats, and lean proteins. These foods provide slow-releasing energy, keeping you feeling full and energized throughout the day. Avoid highly processed foods and sugary snacks, which can cause your energy levels to spike and crash. When you focus on eating whole, unprocessed foods, your body is better equipped to maintain steady energy levels. It's also important to stay hydrated. Dehydration can make you feel tired, sluggish, and unfocused. Make sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day. Keeping a water bottle within arm's reach is a simple but effective way to remind yourself to stay hydrated. Another critical factor in sustaining energy is getting enough sleep. It's easy to underestimate the impact of sleep on your overall energy levels. When you don't get enough rest, your body struggles to replenish its energy reserves. It's not just about the number of hours you sleep, it's also about the quality of that sleep. Make sleep a priority by creating a bedtime routine that signals to your body it's time to wind down. Avoid screens before bed, as the blue light emitted by phones and computers can interfere with your ability to fall asleep. Instead, focus on relaxing activities that help you unwind, such as reading or meditating. Getting enough quality sleep is essential for feeling energized and focused the next day. In addition to sleep and nutrition, regular movement plays a huge role in boosting and maintaining your energy. Sitting for long periods can leave you feeling drained and lethargic, while moving your body regularly can have the opposite effect. Movement doesn't have to mean intense workouts or long runs. Even a few minutes of stretching, walking, or light exercise can help recharge your energy and increase circulation. The goal is to move your body regularly, even in small bursts. Standing up, stretching, or walking around for a few minutes every hour can help prevent your energy from dipping and keep you feeling more alert. While physical health is a major component of sustaining energy, Mental and emotional health are just as important. Your mental and emotional states can directly impact how much energy you have available for daily tasks. Stress, anxiety, and negative emotions can quickly drain your energy reserves, leaving you feeling depleted. That's why it's so important to develop mental resilience and emotional balance. One way to protect your energy is by practicing mindfulness and meditation. These practices help you stay grounded, reducing stress, and helping you manage your emotional responses. Mindfulness also helps you stay present and focused, preventing you from becoming overwhelmed by unnecessary thoughts or worries. A few minutes of mindfulness each day can help you clear your mind, reduce stress, and recharge your energy. It's also essential to take breaks throughout the day. When you're constantly working or tackling tasks without pausing for rest, your energy will naturally decline. Taking breaks may seem counterintuitive, but in reality, it's one of the best ways to maintain consistent energy levels. Use these breaks to step away from your work, move around, and recharge. The Pomodoro technique is an example of a strategy that helps maintain energy by balancing work and rest. The method involves working for 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. After 4 work sessions, you take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. These short, frequent breaks give your mind and body the chance to recover, ultimately helping you maintain a higher level of energy and productivity. Social interactions can also play a significant role in how energized you feel. While it's easy to assume that being around others can drain you, the right social interactions can actually be energizing. Connecting with friends, family, or colleagues who uplift and support you can help you feel more positive, motivated, and alive. The key is to surround yourself with people who bring out the best in you and avoid those who drain your energy. Social support is one of the most powerful ways to boost your mental and emotional energy, helping you feel more resilient in the face of challenges. Lastly, managing your mental energy means letting go of unnecessary distractions. Every time you try to juggle multiple things at once, you drain your mental resources. Multitasking might seem like a time saver, but it often leads to mental fatigue and decreased productivity. Focus on one task at a time and give it your full attention. This will not only help you accomplish more, but also preserve your energy for what truly matters. It's also important to learn how to say no to things that don't align with your priorities. By letting go of commitments that don't serve you, you free up both physical and mental energy for the things that matter most. The key to maintaining high energy throughout the day lies in creating sustainable habits that nourish your body, mind, and soul. Whether it's through proper nutrition, regular movement, quality sleep, or emotional balance, each small improvement adds up over time. The more intentional you are about managing your energy, the more you'll notice a positive shift in how you feel and how much you can accomplish. Energy isn't something you can manufacture out of thin air, but with a little effort and consistency, you can cultivate a level of vitality that propels you forward. When you take control of your energy, you take control of your day and ultimately your life.
Chapter 7: The One Confidence Builder. How to feel stronger every day. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's built over time, piece by piece, through the small actions and decisions you make every day. Many people think confidence is an all-or-nothing trait, something you either have or you don't. But that's simply not the case. True confidence comes from the everyday efforts you put into your life, from the way you approach challenges, handle setbacks, and keep moving forward no matter what. Building confidence starts with the realization that it's not about being perfect. It's about believing in your ability to grow, to improve, and to tackle whatever comes your way. Every step you take, no matter how small, adds up. With every action, you prove to yourself that you are capable, and that is the foundation of confidence. The first thing to understand is that confidence is closely tied to your self-image. How you see yourself will influence how you show up in the world. If you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough or that you're bound to fail, your actions will reflect those beliefs. But if you start believing that you are capable, deserving, and competent, your actions will follow. This isn't about deluding yourself into thinking you're perfect, it's about recognizing that you have the capacity to improve and succeed. One simple way to start building confidence is by setting small goals. These goals don't have to be massive or life-changing, they just need to be achievable, realistic, and aligned with your bigger vision. When you set a small goal and accomplish it, you build trust in yourself. Every time you do this, you reinforce the idea that you can take on challenges and succeed. It doesn't matter if it's something as small as organizing your desk or as big as completing a project at work. What matters is that you set the goal, you work toward it, and you achieve it. That success, no matter how small, sends a powerful message to your subconscious: I can do this. When you accomplish small tasks, your confidence begins to snowball. You start to believe in your abilities more, and as your confidence grows, so does your willingness to take on bigger challenges. Before you know it, you're setting and achieving bigger goals, stepping outside your comfort zone, and tackling things you never thought you could. Each small win is an affirmation that you are capable, and that belief in yourself propels you forward. Another way to build confidence is to focus on your strengths. It's easy to get caught up in what you think you lack or what you think you're bad at. But confidence comes from leveraging your strengths, the things you're naturally good at or that you've worked hard to improve. Reflect on what those strengths are and find ways to use them in your daily life. When you focus on doing things you're good at, you not only perform better, but you also start to see yourself as someone who brings value to the table. Confidence thrives when you see yourself succeeding and adding value. But confidence isn't just about what you do, it's also about how you carry yourself. Your body language has a significant impact on your confidence. When you walk into a room, your posture, your eye contact, the way you present yourself all signal how you feel about yourself. Even if you don't feel confident, you can use your body language to trick your mind into thinking you are. Stand tall, shoulders back, and make eye contact. When you do this, you send a message to your brain that you're in control, that you're capable. Over time, that body language begins to shift your internal state. You'll start feeling more confident, and it will show in the way you carry yourself. Confidence also grows when you start taking action despite fear or uncertainty. It's natural to feel nervous or unsure when trying something new, but it's through taking action anyway that you prove to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. The key is to not wait until you feel ready or perfect. Confidence isn't about waiting for the perfect moment, it's about showing up, doing the work, and learning along the way. You don't need to have everything figured out before you start. Confidence comes from stepping into the unknown, trusting that you'll figure things out as you go. Every time you face a challenge or try something new, you're building confidence. Whether you succeed or fail, you're gaining valuable experience and insight that makes you stronger. Don't be afraid of mistakes or setbacks. They're part of the journey. In fact, every failure is an opportunity to learn, grow, and improve. The more you embrace challenges and take risks, the more resilient you become, and with that resilience comes even more confidence. You learn that you can face adversity and still come out stronger on the other side. That's how confidence is built, through the process of trying, failing, learning, and trying again. A critical aspect of building confidence is the inner dialogue you have with yourself. Your self-talk can either uplift you or drag you down. If you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough or you don't have what it takes, your confidence will suffer. But if you change the way you talk to yourself, you can change your entire mindset. Start noticing your inner dialogue. Are you being kind to yourself, or are you being overly critical? If you catch yourself being negative, challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself, is this really true? What evidence do I have that I can't do this? Over time, you'll start replacing negative thoughts with positive, empowering ones. This shift in mindset will have a profound effect on your confidence. Another important factor in building confidence is surrounding yourself with people who lift you up. The people you spend the most time with can either support your growth or hold you back. If you surround yourself with people who believe in you and encourage you, their belief in you will help strengthen your own belief in yourself. Seek out relationships that are positive, supportive, and empowering. Distance yourself from those who bring you down or make you question your abilities. When you're around people who inspire and motivate you, it's easier to believe in yourself and your potential. You also need to learn to stop comparing yourself to others. It's easy to look at someone else's success and think that you're not measuring up. But everyone's journey is different. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Focus on your own progress, not someone else's. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small, and recognize how far you've come. Confidence isn't about being better than someone else, it's about recognizing your own worth and potential. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you free yourself to embrace your own unique path. Building confidence is a lifelong process, and it requires consistent effort. But the more you work on it, the more natural it becomes. You begin to see challenges as opportunities to grow, setbacks as stepping stones, and yourself as someone capable of achieving great things. Confidence doesn't come overnight, but with every small step you take, you're building a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Confidence is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up every day and doing the work, no matter how small or imperfect it may seem. And with each action, you'll find yourself becoming more confident, not because you're flawless, but because you've learned to trust yourself and your ability to grow. Chapter 8, The One Rule for Overcoming Fear and Doubt. Fear and doubt are natural parts of being human. They are emotions that everyone experiences, and they often emerge when we step outside our comfort zone or when we are faced with challenges that seem too big to handle. It's easy to let fear and doubt control our decisions, to hold us back from pursuing the things that matter most. But here's the truth, fear and doubt don't have to dictate your actions. They don't have to prevent you from moving forward. In fact, by learning to overcome them, you can transform them into powerful forces for growth. The first thing to understand about fear and doubt is that they often arise from the unknown. When we face something we've never done before or when we're uncertain about the outcome, our minds naturally go into a defensive mode. We start imagining worst-case scenarios, convincing ourselves that things will go wrong, and we begin to doubt our own abilities. But the reality is, most of the fears and doubts we experience are based on assumptions rather than facts. We don't actually know what will happen until we take the first step. A powerful way to begin overcoming fear and doubt is to reframe the way you view them. Instead of seeing fear as something to avoid, start seeing it as a sign that you're pushing yourself in the right direction. Fear is not something to be afraid of, it's an indicator that you're stepping into new territory, that you're growing, and that you're challenging yourself to become better. Every time you feel fear, it means you're about to do something that will expand your limits. Fear is a signal, not a roadblock. It's telling you that you're on the verge of something important. The next step in overcoming fear and doubt is to take action. Fear thrives on inaction. The longer you avoid the thing you're afraid of, the bigger it becomes in your mind. But when you take action, no matter how small, you break the cycle. The key is to start with something manageable. You don't have to face the entire challenge all at once. Take one small step, one small action, and let that be your first victory. When you see that you can handle it, the fear begins to lose its power. You prove to yourself that you're capable, and that realization alone makes the next step a little easier. Another important aspect of overcoming fear and doubt is recognizing that failure is not the end. In fact, failure is often the greatest teacher. When you try something and it doesn't go as planned, it doesn't mean you're incapable, it simply means you've learned something valuable, something that will help you succeed the next time. Fear and doubt are often linked to the fear of failure, but when you accept that failure is a natural part of growth, it becomes less intimidating. It's no longer something to avoid, it's something to embrace. Each failure is an opportunity to learn, adjust, and try again. And each time you get back up after a setback, you build resilience and confidence. That's how you move beyond fear. It's also helpful to challenge the stories you tell yourself. Often, fear and doubt are fueled by negative self-talk, by the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of. If you're constantly telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you'll never succeed, or that something is too difficult, you're reinforcing those doubts. To overcome this, start asking yourself more empowering questions. Instead of asking what if I fail, ask what if I succeed. Instead of thinking I can't do this, think how can I make this work. Reframing your thoughts shifts your focus from the negative to the positive. It opens up possibilities instead of closing them off. When you challenge the stories you tell yourself, you give yourself permission to move forward. Surrounding yourself with supportive people can also make a huge difference when it comes to overcoming fear and doubt. The people you spend time with influence your mindset. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity or people who don't believe in you, it can be hard to break free from your doubts. On the other hand, when you're around people who lift you up, who believe in your potential, and who encourage you to keep going, you're more likely to push through your fears. Find a community of like-minded individuals who are also striving for growth. Share your challenges, your victories, and your fears with them. You'll find that the support and encouragement from others can help you overcome the doubts that hold you back. Another effective strategy for overcoming fear and doubt is to focus on the process, not the outcome. Often, we get overwhelmed by the end result, by the idea of success or failure, and that can create anxiety. But when you shift your focus to the process, to the small steps you need to take to get there, the fear begins to feel more manageable. Break down your goals into smaller, actionable steps. Each step you take is a victory in itself, and it brings you closer to your ultimate goal. By focusing on the process, you take the pressure off the outcome, and that makes it easier to move forward. One of the most powerful tools for overcoming fear and doubt is developing a growth mindset. When you see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats to your ability, your entire perspective changes. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning. When you approach challenges with this mindset, you're not afraid of making mistakes because you know that every mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. Fear and doubt are less powerful when you believe that you can grow from any experience. This mindset allows you to embrace challenges, not shrink from them, and it makes overcoming fear a natural part of the process. It's also crucial to be kind to yourself along the way. Fear and doubt often stem from a fear of not being good enough. But when you learn to treat yourself with compassion, those fears lose their grip. Instead of criticizing yourself for feeling afraid or doubtful, acknowledge that these emotions are a natural part of the human experience. Everyone feels fear. Everyone doubts themselves from time to time. What matters is how you respond to those feelings. Be gentle with yourself. Remind yourself that it's okay to feel afraid, and that the key is to keep moving forward despite those feelings. You don't need to eliminate fear to succeed, you just need to take action in spite of it. As you continue to challenge yourself, you'll find that fear and doubt become less of a barrier. They won't disappear entirely, but they'll become easier to manage. The more you face your fears, the more confidence you build. The more you take action despite doubt, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable. Fear and doubt will always be a part of life, but they don't have to control you. When you learn to face them head-on, you unlock your full potential and open up a world of possibilities. The process of overcoming fear and doubt is not about eliminating them entirely, but about learning to move forward in spite of them. Fear and doubt will always show up when you're pushing yourself to grow, but with every step you take, you build the resilience and strength to overcome them. You learn to trust in yourself, to trust in your ability to figure things out, and to trust in the process of growth. Over time, you'll find that fear and doubt no longer hold the same power over you. They become just another part of the journey, and you learn to move past them with confidence and courage. Chapter 9, The One Gratitude Habit. Training your mind to see growth. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools we have for improving our lives. It's easy to overlook how much our mindset shapes our reality, but when we take the time to cultivate gratitude, we begin to see the world through a completely different lens. Life doesn't always go the way we want, and challenges are a constant part of the journey. But no matter what's happening in our lives, we always have something to be grateful for. The power of gratitude lies in its ability to shift our focus from what we lack to what we already have. It helps us see opportunities instead of obstacles, and it allows us to find joy even in the small moments. When we practice gratitude regularly, we train our minds to notice the good things in our lives. It's easy to get caught up in the negatives, to focus on what's not going well or what we wish we had. But when we intentionally choose to focus on gratitude, it changes how we experience life. Gratitude helps us develop a more positive and hopeful outlook, which in turn influences our actions, relationships, and overall well-being. The beauty of gratitude is that it doesn't require anything special. You don't need to wait for big moments or major achievements to feel grateful. In fact, it's the small, everyday things that can have the biggest impact on our mindset. Whether it's the warmth of the sun on your face, the kindness of a friend, or the fact that you have food to eat, there's always something to be thankful for. Gratitude is about finding the beauty in the ordinary, and it's in those moments that life becomes richer and more fulfilling. One of the most effective ways to cultivate gratitude is by making it a daily practice. This doesn't mean you have to write long lists or spend hours reflecting. It simply means taking a few moments each day to pause and acknowledge the things you're grateful for. It could be in the morning before you start your day, during a quiet moment in the afternoon, or before you go to bed at night. The key is consistency. The more you practice gratitude, the more it becomes ingrained in your mindset. Over time, you'll find that it becomes second nature to focus on what you have rather than what you lack. There are many ways to practice gratitude, but one of the most powerful is keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big or grand, they can be as simple as a good cup of coffee or a peaceful walk in the park. The goal is to make it a habit of recognizing the positive things in your life. By writing them down, you're not just acknowledging them, you're also reinforcing the idea that there's always something to be thankful for. It's a small but powerful act that shifts your mindset in a positive direction. Another powerful way to practice gratitude is through the act of expressing it to others. When you take the time to thank the people around you, you not only brighten their day, but you also reinforce your own sense of gratitude. Whether it's a simple thank you to someone who held the door for you or a heartfelt note to a friend who's always there for you, expressing gratitude strengthens your connections and fosters a sense of community. It reminds you that you're not alone, and it encourages the people around you to keep spreading positivity as well. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that we'll only be happy or fulfilled once we have certain things. We often set our sights on external goals, getting a promotion, buying a house, or traveling the world, and convince ourselves that these things will bring us happiness. But the truth is, happiness isn't found in what we get or achieve, it's found in how we appreciate what we already have. Gratitude helps us break free from the cycle of always wanting more and teaches us how to find contentment in the present moment. Of course, practicing gratitude doesn't mean ignoring the challenges or difficulties in our lives. It's not about pretending that everything is perfect or that we don't face hardships. Life is full of ups and downs, and it's natural to feel frustration, sadness, or disappointment at times. But when we practice gratitude, we develop a more balanced perspective. We're able to acknowledge the struggles we face while also recognizing the blessings and opportunities that exist alongside them. Gratitude doesn't diminish the reality of our problems, instead, it gives us the strength to face them with a more positive and resilient attitude. In fact, gratitude can be a powerful tool for dealing with adversity. When we're faced with a difficult situation, it's easy to get caught up in negative thinking. We can become fixated on what's going wrong, and that can make the problem seem even bigger. But when we take a step back and find something to be grateful for, we shift our focus. It doesn't mean that the problem goes away, but it gives us the mental clarity to approach it with a more open mind. It helps us find solutions, build resilience, and move forward with a sense of purpose. One of the biggest obstacles to practicing gratitude is our tendency to compare ourselves to others. In today's world, it's easy to look at social media or the success of others and feel like we're falling short. We see what others have, and we begin to believe that we need those same things in order to be happy or successful. But comparison is a trap. It steals our joy and keeps us from appreciating what we already have. Gratitude is the antidote to comparison. When we focus on what's good in our own lives, we stop measuring ourselves against others. We learn to celebrate our unique journey and recognize the richness of our own experiences. Gratitude also helps us stay grounded in the present moment. In a world that's constantly moving at a fast pace, it's easy to get caught up in the rush. We're often thinking about what's next, what's coming up, or what we don't have yet. But when we practice gratitude, we learn to appreciate the here and now. We slow down and savor the moments that matter. We recognize that life isn't about the destination, it's about the journey, and that journey is filled with moments of beauty, joy, and connection. The more we practice gratitude, the more we begin to see the world differently. We stop taking things for granted and we start to notice the blessings that surround us every day. We become more aware of the people who support us, the opportunities we have, and the simple pleasures that make life worth living. Gratitude doesn't just change our perspective, it changes the way we interact with the world. It helps us build stronger relationships, find more meaning in our work, and experience greater fulfillment in our daily lives. As we continue to embrace gratitude, we begin to understand that it's not just about feeling thankful, it's about living with intention. It's about actively choosing to focus on the positive, even when life gets tough. Gratitude teaches us that no matter where we are on our journey, there's always something to appreciate, and when we cultivate that mindset, we unlock a deeper sense of joy and fulfillment that's available to us every single day. The more we practice, the more we become attuned to the richness of our lives, and the more we begin to see the beauty in the ordinary. Chapter 10, The One Reflection Practice. Learn and improve every day. We all have moments where we feel stuck, like we're not progressing or moving forward in the way we want. In those times, it's easy to believe that we're not improving at all. But that's not the truth. The truth is that we can always learn and grow from our experiences. The key to making progress every day lies in the practice of reflection. Reflection isn't just about looking back on the past, it's about gaining insight into our thoughts, behaviors, and actions so that we can adjust and move forward more effectively. It's an essential part of growth because it allows us to see what's working, what isn't, and where we can improve. Reflection is one of the most powerful tools we have for learning. It's like a mirror for our inner world, giving us a clearer understanding of ourselves. When we take time to reflect, we step outside the constant flow of daily life and create space to think. This helps us see patterns in our actions that we might otherwise overlook. The more we reflect, the better we get at recognizing opportunities for improvement, and the more we understand what's driving us. Often, we go through life without pausing to consider our choices or behaviors. We might go through a day on autopilot, moving from one task to the next without much thought. But reflection requires us to slow down, take a step back, and observe our actions, thoughts, and emotions. By doing this, we can uncover insights that help us understand ourselves better. We start to see where we might be holding ourselves back or where we could make small adjustments that lead to big improvements. Reflection gives us the power to break free from the habits that keep us stuck and create new habits that serve us better. One of the most valuable things reflection does is help us identify our strengths and weaknesses. It's easy to focus only on the things we're not good at, but when we reflect, we can also notice the areas where we excel. Sometimes, we're so caught up in striving for more that we forget to appreciate how far we've come. Reflecting on our successes, no matter how small, gives us the confidence and motivation to keep going. We realize that we've achieved more than we think, and that gives us the strength to tackle new challenges. On the flip side, reflection also helps us identify where we can improve. It's not about beating ourselves up or feeling guilty for our mistakes, it's about recognizing where we might be falling short so that we can make adjustments and do better next time. By acknowledging our weaknesses, we can work on them intentionally, focusing on gradual improvement instead of expecting perfection right away. Reflection gives us the clarity to recognize where we're struggling and the opportunity to develop the skills we need to overcome those challenges. Another important aspect of reflection is the ability to learn from our mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, it's a natural part of life. But instead of letting those mistakes define us, reflection allows us to learn from them. It's easy to get frustrated or discouraged when things don't go as planned, but reflection turns those experiences into valuable lessons. It helps us understand what went wrong, why it happened, and what we can do differently next time. The key is not to dwell on the mistake itself, but to focus on what we can learn from it. Mistakes are just stepping stones on the path to improvement. Taking time to reflect also helps us keep track of our progress. When we're caught up in the day-to-day grind, it can feel like we're not making any progress at all. But by reflecting regularly, we can see how far we've come. Reflection gives us a chance to pause and measure our growth. It allows us to see the small, incremental improvements we've made over time, which can be incredibly motivating. By celebrating those small victories, we remind ourselves that we are making progress, even if it's not always immediately obvious. It helps us stay focused on our goals and keeps us motivated even when the journey feels long. One of the most effective ways to reflect is to set aside time each day or week to think about our experiences. This could be through journaling, meditation, or simply taking a few moments at the end of the day to review how things went. The key is to be intentional about it. Rather than letting our thoughts drift, we focus them on specific aspects of our lives, our work, relationships, health, or personal growth. Reflection doesn't need to be lengthy or complicated, it's about creating space to think and gain insight into our actions. Journaling is one of the most popular and effective ways to reflect. Writing down our thoughts allows us to express ourselves clearly and helps us process our emotions. It also gives us a record of our experiences that we can look back on later. By writing about our challenges, successes, and insights, we can gain a deeper understanding of our own thought patterns and behaviors. It's a great way to track our progress over time and spot trends that might not be apparent at first glance. In addition to journaling, meditation can also be a powerful tool for reflection. Meditation encourages us to quiet our minds and focus on the present moment. This helps us clear away the distractions and noise of daily life, allowing us to connect with our inner selves. Through meditation, we can gain a sense of clarity and calm that enables us to reflect on our experiences with a more objective perspective. It's a practice that helps us tap into our intuition and find the answers that we might not be able to access in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. If journaling and meditation don't appeal to you, simply taking a walk or spending time in nature can also be an effective way to reflect. Sometimes, stepping away from the situation and giving ourselves some space can help us gain perspective. When we're surrounded by nature, we often feel more at peace, and that calmness allows us to reflect more deeply on our thoughts and experiences. The important thing is to make time for reflection, whatever method works best for you. Reflection is not just about looking back, it's also about looking forward. When we reflect on our experiences, we gain insight into what we want to achieve in the future. It helps us clarify our goals and priorities, and it gives us the motivation to continue improving. By reflecting on what we've learned, we can make better decisions and take more effective actions in the future. It gives us the tools we need to keep growing and evolving, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. Reflection is a powerful practice that can help us improve every day. It gives us the opportunity to learn from our mistakes, celebrate our successes, and stay focused on our goals. Through reflection, we gain the insight and clarity we need to keep moving forward. It's a tool that helps us navigate life with more intention and purpose, and it allows us to unlock our full potential. By making reflection a regular part of our routine, we open the door to continuous growth and improvement. Chapter 11, The One-Time Mastery Rule. Getting more done with less effort. Time is something we all have in the same quantity, but not everyone knows how to make the most of it. There's a simple truth that many people overlook: it's not about having more time, it's about mastering the time you have. In today's world, distractions are everywhere, from social media to emails and even the constant pull of work. It's easy to lose track of how much time we're actually wasting. We go through our day checking off tasks without ever really considering how effective we're being. But time mastery isn't about squeezing every second out of the day, it's about learning how to focus on what matters most and creating systems that allow you to do more without feeling overwhelmed. Small adjustments in how we manage our time can make all the difference in improving our productivity and the quality of our work. We often feel like we're running out of time or that we don't have enough hours in the day. But the truth is, we usually aren't managing our time effectively. We get caught up in tasks that don't contribute to our long-term goals, or we allow ourselves to be pulled in a million different directions. Time mastery starts with understanding what you value and prioritizing those things. When you know what matters, you can allocate your time toward those priorities, leaving less space for the distractions that drain your energy. It's about working smarter, not harder. A common trap is to think that time management means cramming as much as possible into the day. But efficiency doesn't come from doing more things, it comes from doing the right things with the right amount of focus. When we're intentional with our time, we can actually do less but achieve more. It's about recognizing that not all tasks are created equal. Some are urgent, some are important, and some are neither. The key to mastering time is knowing how to differentiate between these categories and giving each task the appropriate amount of attention. One of the most powerful tools for time mastery is setting clear boundaries. Boundaries create structure in our lives and protect our time from being hijacked by things that don't align with our goals. Without boundaries, we allow distractions and interruptions to take over, leaving us feeling like we've been busy all day without actually accomplishing anything meaningful. Setting clear boundaries with work, social media, and even with ourselves allows us to focus on what truly matters. It's about creating dedicated blocks of time for specific tasks and respecting those boundaries no matter how tempting it may be to veer off course. Another key to mastering time is creating routines that support your goals. When you have a routine, your mind doesn't have to spend energy deciding what to do next. The decision-making is already built into the structure of your day. This reduces mental fatigue and allows you to be more productive. A well-thought-out routine also prevents the stress of last-minute scrambling. You know what you need to do, when you need to do it, and how long it will take. This structure allows you to focus on the task at hand without wasting time figuring out what comes next. Creating a time mastery routine starts with breaking your day into blocks of time that align with your natural energy levels. Some people are most productive in the morning, while others do their best work in the evening. Understanding your energy patterns helps you schedule your most important tasks during the times when you have the most mental clarity. If you're a morning person, that's when you tackle your most challenging work. If you're an evening person, you can use the late hours for creative tasks that require deep thinking. Working with your natural rhythm rather than against it helps you stay focused and productive. Another powerful strategy is to embrace the art of saying no. It might sound simple, but it's one of the hardest things to do. Saying yes to every request or opportunity may feel like you're being productive, but it often leads to burnout and overcommitment. Mastering time means understanding that you cannot do everything, and that's okay. Saying no doesn't mean you're lazy or unproductive, it means you're being intentional with your time. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying no to something that could help you move forward. By learning to say no, you can keep your focus on the things that matter most. Time mastery is also about learning to let go of perfectionism. Many of us get stuck in the cycle of trying to make everything perfect, which only wastes time and energy. Perfectionism can lead to procrastination as we delay starting a task until everything feels just right. But perfection is an illusion. The pursuit of perfection often leads to unnecessary stress and prevents us from completing tasks altogether. Instead of aiming for perfection, aim for progress. The goal is to make consistent improvements and focus on moving forward, not on creating something flawless. One of the biggest challenges when it comes to managing time is the constant temptation of distractions. Social media, emails, phone notifications, all of these things compete for our attention and take us away from what we should be focusing on. One way to combat this is by setting time limits for non-essential activities. For example, decide in advance how much time you'll spend on social media or how often you'll check your email throughout the day. When you create boundaries around these distractions, you'll find that you're able to focus more deeply on the tasks that matter without being constantly pulled away. Another key aspect of time mastery is understanding the power of rest. Many people make the mistake of thinking that the more hours they work, the more they'll accomplish. But this couldn't be further from the truth. When we don't take time to rest, we burn out, and our productivity suffers as a result. Time mastery isn't just about working hard, it's also about knowing when to rest and recharge. Scheduling regular breaks throughout the day, as well as taking time off for relaxation and self-care, ensures that you're able to maintain your energy and focus over the long haul. You'll accomplish far more with a clear mind and a well-rested body than you will by pushing yourself too hard. Don't forget to reflect on how you're using your time. At the end of each day or week, take a moment to review what you've accomplished and what could be improved. Reflecting on your time usage helps you recognize where you're spending it wisely and where you might be wasting it. This practice allows you to make adjustments and fine-tune your time management skills. It's not about beating yourself up for not being perfect, it's about learning and growing from your experiences. Mastering time isn't about being rigid or inflexible, it's about being intentional with your time, creating systems that work for you, and having the discipline to stay focused on what truly matters. Small changes like setting clear boundaries, prioritizing your tasks, and embracing rest can make a big difference in how you use your time. By mastering your time, you're not just getting more done, you're creating a life that's aligned with your values and goals. You'll feel more in control, less stressed, and more capable of achieving everything you set out to do. Time is one of the most precious resources we have, and when we learn to manage it effectively, we unlock the potential to live the life we truly want. Chapter 12, The One Focus Hour, The Secret to Daily Deep Work. In the fast-paced world we live in, the ability to focus deeply on a task has become a rare and valuable skill. Most people are constantly juggling multiple things at once, checking their phone, replying to emails, thinking about the next thing they need to do. It's easy to get caught up in this chaotic rhythm, but it's impossible to do your best work when you're not giving it your full attention. The key to accomplishing meaningful, high-quality work is learning how to focus for extended periods without distractions. This is where the power of the focus hour comes in. The idea behind the focus hour is simple but profound. Dedicate a set amount of time each day to work on one task with no distractions and give it your undivided attention. It's a period where you enter what's known as deep work, a state of concentration where you can produce the highest quality results. During this time, the goal is to immerse yourself fully in the task at hand, blocking out everything else. One of the biggest hurdles to focus is the constant flow of distractions. Notifications from your phone, emails, and even the mental chatter in your own head can pull you away from the task you're trying to complete. The first step in mastering the focus hour is eliminating these distractions. It's about creating an environment where you can concentrate deeply without being interrupted. That might mean turning off your phone, putting it in another room, or using apps that block social media and other distractions. It might also involve clearing your workspace so that only the tools related to your task are within reach. The more you can minimize distractions, the easier it will be to enter a state of focused work. Another part of mastering the focus hour is setting clear goals for the time you've dedicated. Before you begin, ask yourself what you want to accomplish in this block of time. Do you want to write a certain number of words, complete a project milestone, or work through a challenging problem? Having a specific goal in mind will help guide your focus and keep you from getting sidetracked. When you know exactly what you're working toward, it's much easier to stay on track. It's also essential to train your mind to focus for longer periods. Our brains are not naturally built for prolonged concentration, especially in a world full of constant stimulation. However, like any skill, focus can be developed with practice. Start by setting aside just 30 minutes for deep work and gradually increase the time as you get better at it. Over time, you'll find that you can focus for longer periods without losing concentration or feeling mentally fatigued. While it's important to focus during your designated focus hour, it's equally important to give your brain a break afterward. Deep work can be mentally taxing, so after your hour of focus, take time to recharge. This might mean going for a walk, meditating, or engaging in a completely different activity that allows your mind to relax. The key is not to immediately dive into another task or check your phone, but to give your brain the time it needs to rest. One of the best ways to build this habit of focused work is to schedule your focus hour at the same time each day. When you make it a part of your daily routine, it becomes easier to commit to it, and over time, it becomes a habit that doesn't require a lot of thought or effort. Having a set time also helps you get into the right mindset because you know it's coming and you've prepared yourself to give it your full attention. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel. While the focus hour is a powerful tool, it's also important to balance it with other types of work. You can't spend all day in deep work mode. It's essential to recognize when your brain needs a break and when it's time to switch gears. Use your focus hour for the most important and demanding tasks, and leave the less demanding ones for other times in the day. This balance ensures that you're not only being productive but also taking care of your mental and emotional well-being. Another reason the focus hour is so effective is because it allows you to tap into your peak energy levels. Most people experience natural fluctuations in their energy throughout the day. Sometimes you feel alert and sharp, while other times your energy dips. Pay attention to these patterns and schedule your focus hour when you feel at your best. For many people, this is in the morning, but it could also be in the afternoon or evening. By working with your energy rather than against it, you can make the most of your focus time and get more done in less time. There's also the matter of working in deep blocks of time versus multitasking. Multitasking might seem like an efficient way to get things done, but it's actually one of the most counterproductive things you can do. When you multitask, your brain is constantly switching gears, which leads to mental exhaustion and decreases your overall efficiency. Focusing on one task at a time, however, allows you to give that task your full energy and attention, which leads to better outcomes and less wasted time. When you practice deep work during your focus hour, you're able to accomplish more in less time than you would if you were trying to juggle multiple things at once. As you get into the habit of focusing for 1 hour a day, you'll notice a shift in the way you approach work. You'll begin to see how much more you can accomplish when you give a task your full attention, and you'll also notice how much more fulfilling it feels. The sense of accomplishment that comes from completing a task in a focused, deliberate way is incomparable to the feeling of rushing through something just to check it off your list. Over time, you may find that the focus hour becomes one of the most valuable parts of your day. It's not just about getting more done, but about doing it with intention and purpose. The quality of your work improves, and so does your sense of satisfaction. You may even find that you start looking forward to your focus hour as it becomes a time of deep engagement with your work and a chance to make significant progress toward your goals. In a world filled with distractions, the ability to carve out time for focused, meaningful work is a rare and powerful skill. By committing to one focused hour a day, you're taking control of your productivity and giving yourself the space to make progress on what matters most. It's a simple practice, but one that can transform the way you work, the way you create, and the way you live. Chapter 13, The One Decision-Making Rule. Avoid overthinking and move faster. The way we make decisions impacts every aspect of our lives, from the smallest daily choices to the life-altering ones. Our ability to make sound decisions often dictates the direction we move in. The world constantly throws options at us, and many of us get stuck in the loop of overthinking, wondering whether the choice we make today will have lasting consequences. When faced with a decision, the sheer number of possibilities can feel paralyzing. But one of the best habits you can form is learning to make quicker, more effective decisions, minimizing the mental exhaustion that comes from overthinking. At its core, decision-making is about cutting through the noise. Our minds are full of distractions and competing thoughts, all vying for attention. It's easy to get caught up in second-guessing, wondering if you're making the right choice, and trying to anticipate every possible outcome. However, overthinking decisions often leads to a loss of momentum, wasted time, and a sense of frustration. The key to making better, faster decisions is to build the habit of simplifying your choices, focusing on what truly matters, and moving forward with confidence. The first step to making faster decisions is to learn how to minimize the pressure you put on yourself. We often make the mistake of thinking that every decision must be perfect or that it will have a profound impact on our future. This belief can paralyze us. The reality is, most decisions are not as monumental as they seem. Even when it feels like you're standing at a crossroads, many choices are not irreversible. By letting go of the need for perfection, you free yourself from the weight of unnecessary stress and self-imposed pressure. Once you realize that decisions don't need to be flawless, the next step is to start trusting your instincts. We all have an inner voice that can guide us, but it often gets drowned out by the noise of doubt and fear. Learning to trust your gut is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It requires tuning into your intuition, which is often based on years of experience, knowledge, and understanding things you may not even consciously realize. The more you listen to this inner voice, the more you'll understand that your instincts are often right. While it's essential to trust yourself, it's also important to accept that no decision is made in a vacuum. It's okay to gather information and seek advice from others, but it's crucial not to get bogged down by endless opinions. The more you weigh pros and cons or ask for input from everyone around you, the more you risk losing sight of your own values and goals. This is where the idea of the one decision-making rule comes into play. This rule encourages you to make a decision that aligns with your core values, even if it's just a small step in the right direction. The decision doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be one that moves you forward. Often, the simple act of deciding and moving on is more important than the decision itself. It's also helpful to embrace the concept of making small decisions throughout the day rather than waiting for a big moment. Most of the decisions that matter are the ones we make every day in the course of our normal routines. These are the choices that shape our habits, our relationships, and our personal growth. Whether it's deciding to spend an extra few minutes on a task or making a conscious choice to prioritize your health, these small decisions compound over time. The key is consistency. When you make small, positive choices on a daily basis, you build momentum, and over time, you'll find that making the bigger decisions becomes much easier. Another way to simplify your decision-making process is to reduce the number of options you have. When you have too many choices, it can be overwhelming. The more options you have, the more difficult it is to choose, and the more likely you are to feel dissatisfied with whatever choice you make. It's like standing in front of an endless menu at a restaurant, it's easy to get paralyzed by all the possibilities. To counter this, try narrowing your options to just a few that are aligned with your goals or values. By doing this, you'll reduce the mental clutter and make it easier to take action. One of the greatest obstacles to decision-making is the fear of making the wrong choice. This fear often stems from a concern about failure or regret. However, the truth is that no decision is without risk. The more you avoid making decisions out of fear, the more you miss out on opportunities for growth. Even when a decision doesn't turn out the way you expect, it's still a valuable learning experience. Failure is simply feedback. It's a chance to learn, adjust, and move forward with greater wisdom. One of the ways to combat decision fatigue is to create simple decision-making frameworks. These frameworks act as guidelines, helping you quickly assess the situation and make a choice that aligns with your goals. For example, when faced with a decision, ask yourself, does this align with my long-term goals? Does it bring me closer to the person I want to become? Will this move me forward, even if it's just a small step? By using these questions as a filter, you'll be able to make decisions more quickly and with greater confidence. It's also important to recognize that your decisions don't always have to be based on logic or analysis. Sometimes, they need to be rooted in emotion or intuition. While logic plays a key role in decision-making, there are times when following your heart or listening to your instincts can guide you to the right answer. This is especially true when the decision is related to personal growth, relationships, or matters of the heart. Often, the best decisions are those that feel right, even if they don't make perfect sense on paper. There's a powerful lesson in accepting that you don't always have to get it right the first time. Decision-making is a skill that can be honed with practice, and the more you practice making decisions, the easier and more natural it becomes. Every time you make a choice, you build confidence, and each decision adds to your growth. It's less about getting every decision right and more about building the resilience to bounce back when things don't go as planned. The more you practice making decisions, the better you'll get at navigating uncertainty and trusting yourself. The ability to make decisions quickly and confidently is a critical skill, and it's one that can be developed. It's not about making perfect decisions, but about making the best decision you can with the information you have and then moving forward with conviction. With each decision you make, you build momentum and make progress toward your goals. The quicker you can make decisions, the more time you'll have to take action, learn from your experiences, and continue moving forward on your journey of growth and improvement. When you embrace the one decision-making rule, you begin to see that small, consistent choices can have a massive impact on your life. The simple act of deciding, taking action, and learning from each experience will allow you to grow in ways you never thought possible. Decision-making doesn't have to be overwhelming or stressful, it can be an empowering process that helps you take control of your life and move toward your vision. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become, and the faster you'll move toward the life you truly want.
Chapter 14. The One Learning Habit. Getting Smarter Every Day, Every Day. We're presented with a new opportunity to learn, to grow, and to get a little bit better. The process of learning is something that doesn't stop once we leave school or after we hit a certain milestone in life. Instead, it's something that we must make a habit of cultivating every day. The key to learning isn't just about accumulating knowledge, it's about how we take that knowledge and use it to improve our lives and become the best versions of ourselves. As we continue to improve ourselves, the one rule becomes a powerful tool in our learning journey. By committing to learn just a little more each day, we build a foundation that leads to continuous growth. Learning can seem overwhelming at times. With so much information available to us, it's easy to feel like we'll never catch up or that there's just too much to know. But the power of learning one more each day is that it breaks down the process into manageable steps. It's not about doing everything at once, but focusing on incremental improvements. The small, consistent actions of learning add up over time and compound into significant growth. Each day, when you dedicate just a little time to learning, you're making a deposit into your future self. The small progress you make doesn't always feel like much, but over weeks, months, and years, those tiny improvements add up to something much bigger. This kind of learning goes beyond simply memorizing facts or acquiring new skills. It's about constantly improving how you think, how you approach problems, and how you handle challenges. Learning isn't just about being good at one specific thing, it's about becoming better at navigating life itself. It's about fostering a mindset that's always looking for ways to grow. By viewing every situation as an opportunity to learn, you begin to make every moment count. One of the biggest challenges people face in learning is the temptation to wait for the perfect moment to start. It's easy to think that you'll wait until you have more time, or until you feel more motivated, or until you can take a course. The truth is, the best time to start learning is right now. Learning doesn't need to be a big, overwhelming task. Sometimes, all it takes is reading one chapter of a book, listening to a podcast while you commute, or watching a video during your lunch break. The important thing is to get started. When you break learning down into small, bite-sized pieces, it doesn't feel overwhelming. The key is consistency, and the smallest effort can get you moving in the right direction. Learning also doesn't have to happen in isolation. Many of the greatest lessons come from other people, whether it's through conversations, mentorship, or learning from others' experiences. Connecting with other people can help you expand your understanding and see things from a new perspective. In today's world, there are so many ways to connect with others, whether through online communities, local groups, or even social media. By engaging with others, you expose yourself to different ideas, perspectives, and experiences that can enrich your own learning. Surrounding yourself with people who value learning and growth can create an environment that fosters your own improvement. The beauty of learning one every day is that you can apply it to every area of your life. Whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal development, every small step you take can lead to big improvements. If you're working on a particular skill, committing to learn just a little bit every day will help you make steady progress. The idea of learning one a day isn't about trying to master something in a day or week. It's about making steady, incremental progress over time. Whether it's learning a new language, improving your writing, or mastering a new software program, breaking it down into manageable daily steps makes the process feel less daunting. But learning doesn't always follow a straight line. There will be setbacks, obstacles, and moments when it feels like you're not making as much progress as you'd like. That's okay. The important part is to keep going. Growth isn't always linear. Sometimes, the most valuable lessons come from the times when things don't go according to plan. It's during those moments of challenge and difficulty that we often learn the most about ourselves. Those moments test our resilience and determination, teaching us that learning isn't just about the information we absorb, it's about how we persevere through the ups and downs. One of the ways to ensure continuous learning is to keep asking questions. The best learners are the ones who are always curious, who don't accept things at face value but dig deeper. It's easy to stop asking questions when we think we know enough or when we feel like we have all the answers.
Chapter 15, The One Relationship Rule. Improving your social circle daily. Every relationship we have plays a crucial role in shaping who we are and the person we continue to become. The people we surround ourselves with, whether it's family, friends, colleagues, or mentors, have a profound impact on our growth, mindset, and habits. This chapter is about improving those relationships, even if only by one every day, because those small improvements compound over time and have the power to change our lives in meaningful ways. Relationships are often the foundation of our emotional well-being. They provide us with love, support, encouragement, and sometimes even the challenge we need to push ourselves further. But no relationship is perfect, and no relationship, no matter how close, is immune to growth. Every interaction we have with another person is an opportunity to learn something new about ourselves, them, and the world around us. When we take the time to nurture these connections, we create an environment where both we and those around us can thrive. One of the simplest yet most effective ways to improve our relationships is by showing up as a better listener. So often, we engage in conversations with the intention to respond rather than to truly understand. We may think about our reply, rehearse our answer, or be distracted by our own thoughts. But being a great listener is one of the most powerful tools for building strong, meaningful relationships. It allows the other person to feel heard and valued, which in turn deepens the connection. Listening doesn't mean simply staying quiet while the other person talks. It means being present in the moment, paying attention to both their words and their nonverbal cues, and truly trying to understand their point of view. Often, we assume we know what someone is going to say or how they're going to feel, but by actively listening, we open ourselves up to new insights and a better understanding of the person in front of us. This skill can be practiced in every conversation, no matter how small. Whether you're talking to a friend, a colleague, or a stranger, actively listening can make a world of difference. If you commit to improving your listening skills by just a little bit each day, you'll find that your relationships deepen and your ability to connect with others becomes more natural. This simple shift in focus from speaking to truly listening can transform the way you interact with the world. Another important aspect of building better relationships is empathy. Understanding how others feel, not just intellectually but emotionally, can create a bond that transcends mere conversation. When you put yourself in someone else's shoes, you start to see things from their perspective. This allows you to respond in ways that are compassionate, kind, and more supportive. Empathy doesn't always mean agreeing with someone or even offering a solution. Sometimes, it simply means being there for someone, acknowledging their feelings, and letting them know that they're not alone in their experience. Empathy is a skill that can be cultivated with practice. Every day, you can make a conscious effort to step into someone else's world, to understand their struggles, and to offer kindness where it's needed. It might feel awkward at first, especially if you're not used to taking the time to think about someone else's emotional state, but as with any habit, the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Each day, as you intentionally put yourself in someone else's shoes, you build the foundation for deeper, more meaningful connections. Trust is the bedrock of all healthy relationships. Without trust, even the most loving and supportive relationships can fall apart. But trust isn't something that's built overnight. It's earned through consistent actions, through showing up for someone, through being reliable, and through maintaining integrity in every interaction. Trust can also be fragile. One mistake, one broken promise, can take a long time to repair. That's why it's so important to be conscious of the trust we cultivate in our relationships. To improve trust in your relationships, focus on small, consistent actions. Be the person who follows through on promises, who shows up when you say you will, and who speaks honestly. You don't have to do something grand to earn someone's trust. It's the little things, the actions that demonstrate your reliability and commitment, that add up over time. And if trust has been broken, it's important to show through consistent effort that you're willing to rebuild it. It's about being patient with the process and understanding that regaining trust takes time, but it's possible with consistent, small improvements. In relationships, it's also essential to cultivate mutual respect. Respect is about honoring someone's feelings, boundaries, and needs. It's about valuing their time, their thoughts, and their individuality. Too often, we take respect for granted, assuming that it's always there. But respect is something that needs to be actively maintained and nurtured. If you want to improve your relationships, focus on demonstrating respect in every interaction. This could mean giving someone your full attention when they speak, valuing their time by not making them wait unnecessarily, or acknowledging their contributions without dismissing them. Respect is also about acknowledging that everyone has different perspectives, and those differences should be celebrated, not dismissed. By respecting the people around you, you set the tone for your relationships to grow and flourish. Another key aspect of improving relationships is learning how to manage conflict in a healthy way. Disagreements are a natural part of any relationship, but it's how we handle them that determines the health of the connection. Healthy conflict resolution involves listening, staying calm, and seeking to understand the other person's point of view without getting defensive or angry. It's about finding common ground, compromising when necessary, and knowing when to apologize or forgive. If we're always looking for the right answer or trying to win an argument, we miss the point of conflict, growth, understanding, and mutual respect. When we approach conflict with a mindset of cooperation instead of competition, relationships grow stronger. Conflict can be an opportunity to deepen your understanding of the other person and to learn more about yourself. Every time you navigate a disagreement with empathy and respect, you contribute to the overall strength of the relationship. In any relationship, there will be moments when you need to offer support. Being there for someone when they need you most can be one of the most valuable gifts you can give. Support doesn't always mean fixing problems. Sometimes, it's about just being present, listening, and offering encouragement. When you offer genuine support, you show the other person that they matter to you and that you're willing to walk alongside them through difficult times. Support is also about celebrating successes together. When someone achieves something great, be the person who cheers them on, who acknowledges their hard work, and who encourages them to keep going. Support isn't limited to the difficult moments, it should extend to the good moments as well. By offering support in both the highs and lows of life, you strengthen your connection with others. Never underestimate the power of showing gratitude in your relationships. Expressing gratitude, whether it's for the little things or the big moments, reinforces the positive aspects of the relationship. Gratitude fosters a sense of appreciation and strengthens the bond between people. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Sometimes, a simple thank you or an acknowledgement of someone's efforts can go a long way in deepening a relationship. By consistently improving the way you relate to others, even by just one each day, you build stronger, more resilient relationships. These small improvements add up over time, and before you know it, you'll find yourself surrounded by a network of meaningful connections that help you grow, challenge you, and support you along the way. The people we surround ourselves with play a critical role in our journey of self-improvement, and by putting in the effort to improve those relationships, we're laying the groundwork for a more fulfilling and successful life.